My friend Donna Hanson from Australia is a no-nonsense straight shooter, and we're going to get you right involved with her session straight away. This particular session is all about how millennials can really grasp and reshape the future of work. Am I right? Yeah, buddy. Just kind of go back to the basics here. Donna Hanson, she is absolutely a ripper. So this particular session is going to be all about how to, and let's look up at our title, what every professional needs to know about what? Word and Excel to save time, stress, and what? Anyone ever frustrated? It happens a lot. In this session, you'll learn key ideas and strategies of not to have that happen. Donna is one of only five people outside the United States to be certified to train Microsoft's own staff in a process to better manage Outlook and email. She runs one of Australia's premier technology productivity training companies, Prime Solutions Training, which over the last nearly 20 years has helped thousands and thousands of people to use technology every day to save not only hours, but literally days and weeks on common everyday business tasks. She works with organizations to deliver results through the strategic use of technology, reducing risk, increasing productivity, and unlocking capacity without adding to an organization's headcount. Today, Donna will share with us what every professional needs to know about Word and Excel to save time, stress, and frustration. Would you please give her a great Singaporean welcome, Donna Hanson, CSP.
Thank you. I wanted to just go straight into it because I know time is so important, so I want to make sure we maximize our time together. I am going to show you a whole lot of tips and shortcuts in Word and Excel. At the end of the session, I hope that you walk away with one or two things that are going to make life easier for you. I apologize in advance for two things. First of all, these don't have inbuilt spell checkers. So from time to time, they will make mistakes. I'm waiting for Fingers 2.0 to be released. And the second thing is just pick and choose the bits that are relevant for you. There might be things that we look at today where we go, I knew that, but I didn't know it could do that. Okay, so you ready to hop on the ride? I tell lots of jokes too, so I hope you'll laugh. I still think they're funny and I've heard them lots. Okay, so off we go. Some quick tips. Some of you are probably familiar that you can double click on a word to select a word. You can also go into the margin and you can do a single click to select the row, a double click to select the paragraph, or a triple click to select the entire document. I know your life probably isn't ever going to be the same, and there's at least one of you thinking to yourself, Donna, I'm overcome with excitement already. But why would I want to do that? Have you ever had a letter that you're typing and it just pops over onto the second page? Have you had that? And all you want to do is just put it onto the one page, and you get in there and you start taking out all the enters. So what you can do is hold down the Control key on your keyboard and press the left square bracket. That's to the right of the letter P. And when you press on it, it reduces the font size by 1. So guess what? Control on the right square bracket does. Increases it by 1. So the benefit of this is at the bottom of the screen you can see it dropping from 2 pages down to 1 page. So just down here in the bottom left hand corner it says page 1 of 1. So it's a great way of fast tracking things. Now let's just say I want to make this piece of text that I've selected bold and red. Now, if I want to apply that formatting to other pieces of text in my document, I don't want to have to select it and go bold and red. What I can do is use the Format Painter. Have some of you used the Format Painter before? So the Format Painter, a single click will allow you to do it once, but if you double click, it enables you to keep applying that formatting. I know, crazy, isn't it? If only it was that easy to paint our apartments. And when you're finished, you can either click on the Format Painter to switch it off, or you can press the Escape key on your keyboard, and like a teenager, it will forget everything you ever told them. Now, other things that are really handy to know are about bullets. Now, I'm not talking about those bullets that you might have with some of your employees where you'd like to, but the ones that we use in Word. So you would all know that you click on the icon and it switches the bullets on. Now, if I put in some text, and you can see it's highly technical text, every time I press enter, Word says, okay, Donna's starting a new thought. But what happens if I have a bulleted point and, for example, under dog, I want to put breeds of dog? If you've ever tried to do this before, you press enter and you get another bullet. So if I hold down the shift key, that's S-H-I-F-T, and press enter, it creates what's called a soft return. And from here I can type in Does anyone have all three of those dogs? No, don't laugh. I've had somebody in an audience once that goes, yes, I've got all three. So that's called a soft return, and that explains why sometimes when you're lining stuff up, it doesn't line up properly. So you might want to start a new line but not a new paragraph. Now, here's another shortcut that's one of my favourites. Do some of you put text in tables in Word? So you know that you can go to Insert, Table, and you can choose the number of columns or rows. But the challenge with that is all the columns are exactly the same width between the margins. And sometimes you know exactly what it is you want to type up. So maybe it's notes from a meeting that you've attended, and you have one column where you might have a number, another column where you might have some detail, and then another column where you might have an action item. So you know visually where you want things to appear. So if I type in a plus sign and press some spaces, another plus sign, some more spaces, another plus sign, some more spaces, and a plus sign. Watch what happens when I press enter. Now, before I do that, you might want to get a handkerchief out of your pocket to wipe away the dribble of excitement that you are now going to experience. When I press enter, it creates a table. Wow. Yeah. Whoa! Now, there's at least one of you that's thinking to yourself, Donna, my life will never be the same again. But generally, when I create a table, I want more than one row. Fair enough. So if you click in the last cell of any table and you press the tab key, it automatically creates another row. Okay? Now, the other thing that I always say, because, you know, often you're doing work and then there's other people that are going to touch your work. Does that happen in your organisation? You do something, hand it off to someone else, and then they muck it up. Or maybe it's the other way around. You muck it up and give it to them to fix. So I can put in text. And if I know at any stage that this table could potentially go onto another page, I have a tab at the top here. And if I click the Design tab, no, it's actually the Layout tab. I used to be indecisive, but I'm not so sure now. If I click on the... Not funny today? No? If I click on the Layout tab, there's an option here, Repeat Header Rows. If you click on that, you can guarantee that if your table goes over onto a second page, those headers will always be at the top. So fantastic idea. And remember, we're thinking of this sort of stuff not only from our own work, but from our team. So there might be something that you see today and you go, I've got a colleague back at the office that needs to know about this. So that's part of your sharing that you do when you get back at work, helping them in a nice way. So that enables you to do that. Now, some other things that might be useful as well in Word. Word has a range of shortcuts that enable you to quickly and easily put in data. So, for example, I'm typing in ACN. Watch what happens when I press the space bar. It automatically corrects. Now, you've probably seen that before, yeah? It spells, corrects the spelling for things like I before E except after C, and accommodation. I can never remember if it's 2 C's and 2 M's or 1 C and 2 M's, so it doesn't matter. But I like to leverage technology. Some people call it lazy. Personally, I prefer to call it productive. I like to be productive. So I like to leverage off things like this to shortcut. So if you go to File, and down the bottom to Options, and from here I'm going to choose the Proofing tab. Now, and then Autocorrect Options. Now, if you have any questions afterwards, I'm around today and I'm around tomorrow. So feel free to come and see me and I'll be happy to answer any questions. It has common things in here like the copyright symbol, the trademark symbol. You've probably seen all those things, the smiley faces when you type that in. So I'm going to put in my initials and then I'm going to put in my name in full. I told you, no inbuilt spell checkers. Now the key here is for autocorrect to work properly, you have to actually type it in correctly. So I'm going to choose Add and OK, and then OK again. Now, if I type in DH and press the spacebar, it expands out and pops my name in. So you could use this for so many things, any sort of text that you pop in to a document on a regular basis. And there's an extension of that as well called Quick Parts. Now, sidebar here, let's say I want to start a new page. It won't be you, but it'll be somebody in your organisation who just presses enter, enter, enter to go on to the next page. You might want to go back and suggest to those people at the office, if they hold down the control key on the keyboard and press enter, that will force a page break. So I've got this in here and I type in DH and I'm going to highlight that data. And if I go to insert and I choose the drop arrow here at Quick Parts and choose Save Selection to the Quick Part Gallery, and I'll click OK. Now at any point in time, if I want to put this block of text in, I simply go to Insert, click the drop arrow here at Quick Parts and click on it and it drops it in. So start thinking about how can you work smarter and not harder. It's not lazy, it's productive. We're trying to focus on the things that save you time. Because did you know for every 5 minutes you lose of productivity or work every day, across the course of a week, that's 25 minutes a week. If you're only working 48 weeks a year, because we like holidays in Australia, 48 weeks a year, that works out to be 2.5 days of lost productivity, all because of something taking you 5 minutes longer than it normally would. So start thinking about how can you work smarter and not harder. And I apologise, I get really, really excited about this because I don't know about you, but I don't want to be on technology. I want to have a life. I want my kids calling me mum. I don't want them calling me Auntie Donna. So there's a few tips and tricks on Word, and I'm sure that you're overcome with excitement by that. But the pain point for a lot of people is Excel. So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes just going for broke with Excel. Pick and choose the bits. Don't try to remember it all. All you need to do is find one thing. I figure in 20 minutes, if you can walk away with one tip, that's a good investment. Sometimes you'll go to an hour meeting and you go away and go, where did that hour of my life go? I can't get that back. So Word has 3 different mouse pointers, a thick white cross for highlighting, a 4-way arrow for moving, and a thin black cross in the bottom right-hand corner, which is called autofill. Now, it's a bit like trying to screw a screw in with a hammer. If you don't have the right tool for the job, you're not going to get the right result. So there's a whole lot of bits and pieces here that I can show you. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if I type in the number 1 and I fill down, watch what happens. Nothing. If you want to get Excel to create a sequence, you need to show it the sequence and then fill down. Does that make sense? You can also put in dates and fill down, but we know that if we fill down, it's going to increase by sequential dates. What happens if you only want weekdays? If you hold down the right mouse key, is everybody familiar with the right key? All it does is brings up a shortcut menu. If you drag down with the right mouse key and let go, there's an option here to fill weekdays. This is really handy because it enables you to create some stuff that is relevant to just the period you're after. So I can click on row number 6, I could right click and choose insert, and then I could come down here and I see that there's another row I need to insert. If I want to insert again, because that's the last thing I just did, I can press the F4 key on my keyboard and that automatically adds in a new row because that's the last action I did. Smarter, not harder, not lazy, productive. Okay, some other tips and shortcuts. You're probably all familiar with the auto sum, where you sum up a set of data. You may even grab this and fill across. Have we all done that sort of stuff before? Too hard, too slow. I highlight all of this data and then I click auto sum. Yeah? Now, usually there's somebody that's thinking to themselves, Donna, again, my life will never be the same and I'll just reach into my pocket and get my handkerchief to wipe away that next dribble of excitement. But you're probably thinking to yourself, I can see that that's adding up that data, but what if it's not adding up this? How do I know? If you highlight this data, and don't laugh, I've actually seen people get out calculators, add things together. And if you look down here in the bottom right-hand corner, it tells you what the sum is. Smarter, not harder. Sometimes we just don't know what we don't know, and there's just one thing that can really shift your productivity. So we just need to find that one thing, and when you leverage on it, you're going to get time back. So has anyone ever had to create a graph last minute? Yeah? We love those, don't we? I recently spoke in the Cook Islands, which is a long way from here, and I was working with someone who liked to create graphs, but it was taking her ages to do it. And I showed her this one tip, and I said to her, I thought her brain was going to explode. She was that excited. And when I asked her later on if her boss asked her how long it took to do the graph, she said 2 hours. She worked at a government department. Excel I just get so excited about, because we've got so much risk with Excel. We're making so many decisions based upon data that's in a spreadsheet, and all it needs is for somebody to push the wrong button and your formulas are no good. So I highlight this data, and if I press the F11 key on my keyboard, hold back your excitement. There we go. Oh, Donna, oh, thankfully nobody fainted. Now, the only thing you need to know here is usually when you create this sort of thing, you're doing it in a rush, so F11 will always create the graph for you. You need to be aware that this is on its own worksheet, so it's over 256 columns wide, over 1 million rows down, depending on the version of Excel you're working with. So if you try to copy and paste this into Word or PowerPoint, you'll do your head in, you'll tear your hair out. So the best thing you can do is choose Move Chart. So once you've created the chart and done all the editing without the text around it, you can move it and make it an object in. And when you click OK, you've got your data here. Now here's a side note, because I love graphs. I know it's sad. Let's just say I didn't want to graph all of that data. I just wanted to graph this data, hold on, these labels, this data, and this data. So notice how I've selected 3 different blocks, the labels, so I'm getting Excel to do the heavy lifting, and then what I'm going to do is create a graph from this. So what was the magic key? F11. So if I press F11, happy days, just that data. So smarter, not harder. And of course, if anyone asked, how long did that take you? 2 hours. 2 hours. Now, we're fast running out of time, so there's some other things that I want to show you because I'm guessing a lot of you take data out of other applications and you need to analyse it in Excel. So here's some really great tips. The first one here is, see how I've got first name and last name all in the one cell? You need to be able to split that data to be able to do a mail merge or something like that. So I highlight the data, I go to Data, Text to Columns, and characters such as commas or tabs separate each field, and I'll click Next. And I'm going to choose space. Now, side note here, if you had a list of email addresses, you could use a semicolon, and then it would put them all down for you. I click Next. Numbers will convert to numbers, dates to dates, and the remaining to text. I'm going to click Finish. Now, I recently did this with a local government department, and when I completed this, I just heard someone gasp, and I thought we might have needed an ambulance. She said to me, Donna, we got a temp in for 3 days. We had a list of 65,000 names and we needed to pull them apart. None of us knew how to do it. You showed us in a matter of seconds. We don't know what we don't know. And sometimes just that one little tip or trick, and you don't need to go to an all-day training course for this. You just need to find the stuff that's right for you, okay? So you like that one? Now, here's the opposite. Let's say I want to add them together. So I can type in or click on the FX, and there's a function called concatenate. Now, I'm lucky to be able to say it, let alone spell it. It adds text strings together. So, of course, the Microsoft definition makes perfect sense. Click OK. I click on my first cell, and then I click on my second cell, and you'll notice that there's no gap. So I need to take this one out and press the space bar, click here and click on this one, and click OK. You like that? Now, here's another trick. If I am on my mouse pointer here, the thin black cross, a double click, it will fill all the way down for you, as long as the data you've got is to the left of it. So I'm mindful that we've got 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to go for it with the last couple of things. Is that okay? Okay, so here's the last one. Of course, won't be you, will be people you work with who have uppercase and lowercase, yeah? And you need to convert it all. So you can click the FX, and there's a proper if I click OK. And I just simply need to click on the cell that I want to prop case and double click down. Now I can also change the word proper to lower if I want it all lowercase, or upper if I want it all uppercase. So smarter, not harder. Rob, I'm going to hand back to you because there's my 20 minutes and I'm all about being on time. Thank you so much. I'm around for the next couple of days, or today and tomorrow, and I'd love to have a chat with you. Don't forget to work smarter and not harder.